before you crack on, render this way. Hi guys, I've got a very special guest today. He is one of my subcontractors that's helping me with my passive house construction. And I thought, what a great opportunity for us to share with you some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to rendering. So tell us about yourself, who you are, where are you based, what your company does, and yeah, what my experience do you have in the field?
So yeah, I'm Mark Beauchel and I have a rendering company called Quality Renders Limited. We are based in the Colchester area. We do a flexible render system, does not crack, 365 colours, amazing stuff, and we do all sorts of renders, but mainly this one because it's flexible and that's what we like to do.
Absolutely.
And I've got 25 years of experience myself.
25 years of experience, right guys? So this guy is basically working for a long time, and you know, he's been tremendous help you know, on this, let's say, it's Face for Map project. And Mark, when we started chatting, we chatted about different systems, right? Initially, I specified the key render system, and K-render, sorry, and then we decided against it. Okay, what was the main reason that a K-render system wouldn't work where I had a cementitious board? Yeah, could you show us a light on that?
It's more likely you'll get some cracks into with a K-render because of the system, and it goes on thicker. The mesh is too far back, and as soon as the building moves, it hasn't got the flex in it this has got. So it's not ideal for doing it onto renderable. Plus the render that you want to go on there goes on too thick. You can't put the render on thicker than the render board itself. So if it's 12mm bold, you can only put on up to 80%, so maximum is 10mm thick. But their render goes on between 15 and 18mm. It's too much weight. You think per board, talking you've got a 25 kilogram board, at 2.4 square, but then you're going to add another coat of render to that makes that render board weigh about 63 kilos overall. That's too much for one render board. It'll move too much with a wood moving like that. It'll come off, and you just come off. So we went for a lighter system which goes on 6 to 8mm thick, and it's flexible. So that's the best system for you. That's why I suggested using this system. Absolutely,
and thanks for that. You know, we decided obviously that something that is durable, something that is, you know, obviously the appearance is good as well, and the appearance is spot on as well, isn't it?
It's the best system out there.
We got, as you mentioned earlier, it's got 365 colors.
That's in one color chart. That's what they get. I've put the color chart down because there is about 1,000 colors, but it just confuses the customers.
Absolutely.
So I give you one with 365, and they go, "Well, so many." I go, "You've got the reduced one. I've got one with more colors," but it just confuses people. And the colours in there, we've got 365, you've got about 10 of each colour, so there's plenty to choose from.
Absolutely. So there's a flex. Obviously, the other key thing to consider here, guys, is there's a flexible system, because as any material with temperature changes, right, you know, expands and contracts. And if you're not careful, you pick a render system that's too stiff, like the other system that we mentioned about, then you'll have a crack.
You have one crack, and then what happens is water will get behind that, and it may take 15 years to come off, but the water will get behind it, and then in winter that water will sit behind it, it will freeze, and then it'll expand, make the wood behind it expand, and then once they expand, it'll shrink back in the summer, and it'll be constantly doing this and that, and then after a while it'll all start coming off. So that's why I go for this system.
Absolutely. And could you imagine, guys, having to erect all that scaffolding again?
You're talking
and doing
£20,000 all day long.
It's a lot of money, you know, to you know, not to do it right from the start.
I won't do anything wrong. I do it all by the book. I've done it for 25 years. I know how to do it. People go, "Oh, but I've heard a job's cracking." I go, "Well, they're not done the job right." Simple as that. You do the job right. You do it the thickness it says you got to do it. You put all the stress patches in it. You do it the way the system goes. It does not fail. Absolutely.
Right. In terms of now talking about lead time, so you know, how much in advance do we need to procure the materials? Or you need to procure your materials, and you know, and that sort of thing. Is it? I gather is a system that is approved in the UK, but you know, it comes from a different country, right?
So how sort of how? So they've got all the guarantees over here. They've got, I forget what the what's called now, the regs calling it, but they've got all the highest regs, and other systems that you can use haven't got that in this country. BBR, they go, "Oh, that's fine," or whatever. It's just a brush over. They go, "That'll do." And then one thing goes wrong with it, they just go, "Oh, that's because that's on 0.5 mil too thin there and 0.5 mil too thick there. With FASA, it's a sound system, and it has been proven. That's why when they started in this country, I was one to come and help them set up their warehouse in Slough years ago. And as soon as we started using it, I knew this was the way forward using this system.
Absolutely. And the other thing to consider, guys, as well is, you know, the board that is the system is going to be applied to. Because my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that not all the boards, you can use all the boards because there are different components.
You can use 90% of the boards. There's a couple of boards out there that have just recently become illegal to render on.
Illegal?
Yeah, it's called Magpie. It's got magnesium in it.
Okay.
Now, people have been using them for years. But in the last 2 years, they've become illegal.
Right.
I prefer to use the FASA system board because that is their board. But their render will go on any system apart from like the ones that I'll say that one and maybe an aqua panel. I won't use it on them, but the ones you've picked here are perfect for it. Right,
perfect. Yeah, so be careful, guys, when it comes to picking the boards, making sure, absolutely, well in advance. I think the to do is to get people like Mark. He's got plenty of experience in the field, and he can advise you on the type of board because it's not only on his job, but on the previous job, I had the other contractor installing the boards. They're quite heavy, and they're difficult to maneuver. So you need to think about that sort of thing. And when it's difficult to maneuver, obviously it takes longer for them, and then you end up paying more, right? So make it important that you get people like, you know, like the specialists well ahead before you even procure the materials for the next project, for the next sort of phase to come, isn't it? And lastly, Mark, so cost-wise, you know, compare for all the different alternatives. How does it compare, this system compared to others in terms of cost?
This one is probably, it sounds like silly, but it's about £1 a metre dearer.
Right.
The other systems are between 18 to 20. This one is 20. But I'm more than happy to pay the extra. And I'll tell the clients,
absolutely,
if you want me to use a cheap one, I'll use it, but it's not the look you want. I said, this one here, I show them the sample on the board and they go, it doesn't look much difference. It does to me. I know what the crispness can look like, you know, and it's only a little bit more expensive. You can go down a cheaper route, but I wouldn't advise it. I really wouldn't, because you're paying for the quality, you're paying for the experience. Because if any problems, you want to ask any questions, they've got reps just sitting there. You just phone them up and they can tell you the ins and outs of it. They can take you to Italy, to their quarries where it's all made. I've been to Italy over there, and the FASA is a massive company. They not only do plaster and render, they do plasterboard, they do paints, they do everything. They're like a multi-billion-pound company in Italy. And you go over there, they look after you, and they show you all the products they do. They're very good at it.
Amazing. And one last one to share with the audience. What sort of guarantees do you offer? Or what sort of, you know, if you're a developer or you're a house owner, what sort of guarantees were you aiming to get from a system like that, for how many years, etc.?
Well, there's a manufacturer's guarantee, which is a basic one, which is about 8 years, they say.
Right.
But I've done jobs 20 years ago and I've gone back and there's no problem whatsoever.
Amazing.
You know what I mean? But there is one that FASA will provide, and it's slightly longer, and they'll just go, right, who's done it? I'm an approved installer. I've been to their warehouse and I've done the week course, and they've seen that I'm a qualified renderer. So they'll give me a longer guarantee because they know that I've done it how it should be done.
Sure.
If you do the job how it should be done, you're looking at 20 years. Well, I've been doing it over 20 years and I've not had any problems yet.
Right.
So if you use a cheaper system, I think they're only giving you about 8 to 10 years.
Right.
Because anyone can buy it. With FASA, you can't buy it. The only people that are registered
authorised
to buy it can buy it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you have to be an improved installer. So, but the other systems, anyone off the streets can go and buy it and give it a go themselves in their house and then go, oh, that's fouled. They haven't done it right. They're not, you know what I mean? You've got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, you've got to follow a protocol.
Exactly.
You know, you have to have the right temperature for it as well.
Protect everywhere first. Then it's beads. It looks like, oh, we're not getting much done. But then you start, it's all a system. Protection, beads, mesh, skim, top coat, protection of, mastic, sealed. That's it.
Sealed.
So it is a 7 things you've got to do, but it's the way you've got to do it, otherwise it's found.
In terms of timing, so how much time do you allow, developers, cell builders are allowed?
100 metres, we work out 100 metres is...
Square.
100 square metres is the average house. So you're looking at about 7 working days.
7 working days.
And you've got a lot more than that on this job, and I'm doing it in 3 weeks, which is why I've brought more people in with me. So you can do them faster, but for a team of 3 men, 100 meters would be 7 days. That's including protection off, mastic, and everything.
Amazing. If you like me to do some more videos like this, guys, please subscribe to our channel. And also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram account is JAYMUNOZAFL.